Bueno, buenas noches a todos. Es para mí como embajador de El Salvador un gran gusto y un honor estar acá en esta oportunidad en que celebramos los 30 años de la existencia de CARECEN y particularmente en el contexto de la partida de Saúl. Triste como ha sido, pero que también es un motivo de celebración. Y creo que por eso es que todos estamos acá. Escuchando lo que ha dicho las personas que han antecedido, la elocuencia del congresista Gutiérrez, lo que acaba de decir, etcétera, se me ocurre que hay como ciertas cosas que son constantes y que aparecen en lo que ellos han dicho. Uno es que los tiempos son difíciles, estamos realmente pasando tiempos difíciles de cara a lo que es el ambiente anti-inmigrante que existe y que se está desarrollando más y más en este país. Es por ello, como les digo, que CARECEN sigue siendo necesario y sigue siendo importante. Ese es quizás el primer elemento. Segundo, que para poder seguir, y por lo tanto es necesario seguir trabajando en lo que quizás hace 30 años se suponía que no iba a ser necesario, pero la realidad nos ha demostrado que es necesario que CARECEN, instituciones como CARECEN, sigan trabajando en este campo. El segundo mensaje es que la mejor manera de hacerlo es trabajar juntos. Eso lo oímos de varios y creo que es correcto. Siempre ha sido y sigue siendo lo más cierto ahorita, que es importante que trabajemos todos juntos, cada quien desde sus posibilidades, desde sus lugares, pero que es necesario trabajar juntos en este importante tema. Y tercero, que hay que continuar trabajando. Esto es algo que no se determinará pronto. Habrá posiblemente mucho tiempo más para seguir trabajando. Entonces ese es el tercer elemento, no hay que desmayar, tenemos que seguir trabajando juntos y con el mismo ahínco, o con mayor ahínco. Y quizás esa es la mejor manera de poder recordar y celebrar a Saúl, porque ese fue lo que él hizo durante todo tanto tiempo. Por eso, pues, es para mí, como les decía, un gran gusto poder entregarle este reconocimiento a CARECEN, que dice así: la Embajada de El Salvador en los Estados Unidos otorga el presente reconocimiento al Centro de Recursos para Centroamericanos CARECEN en ocasión del 30 aniversario de su fundación y sobresaliente trayectoria en el trabajo comunitario, en la defensa de los derechos de los inmigrantes y en potenciar el desarrollo integral de la comunidad latina en la región metropolitana de Washington, D.C., bajo el brillante liderazgo de su distinguido presidente, señor Saúl Solórzano, dado en Washington, D.C., 6 de octubre del 2001.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Now I want to introduce Wil Campos, PG Council member. Mr. Campos, would you please come up to the stage and pay tribute and present proclamation for us, please?
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Wil Campos, and I represent the 2nd District of Prince Georges County, which is right next door. Langley Park, Hyattsville, Mount Rainier, Brentwood. Literally, if you take Rhode Island Avenue, as soon as you cross into Maryland, that's my district. I'm going to be as brief as possible, because I know we have other presentations, but also as thorough as I can be to honor both CARECEN and our friend Saúl properly tonight. I came here to the U.S. 28 years ago, back in 1983. When I was in school, I went to school right down the street at Thomas Stone Elementary School in Mount Rainier. When I was in school, there might have been one or two. Matter of fact, Victor Ramirez was my next door neighbor, our first senator in the state of Maryland, if you can believe that. There's an aplauso. So his dad sitting here has seen us play, you name it, every single possible game you could possibly imagine as a kid, both outside, and video games, and you name it. But we were next door neighbors. We went to the same elementary school. And there might have been one or two other Latinos in our classrooms. Now, as representatives, Senator Ramirez and myself, we go back to the same schools in our region because we represent the districts that we grew up in, and we see 50 to 80% Latino population just in that short amount of time. It's amazing how much we have grown in this area. My cousins, they've grown up in Houston, Texas. Texas. When I go visit them, I've actually never told them this. It's just an observation, though. When I go to visit them, and when I go to visit California, for example, Los Angeles, and I watch TV, it's amazing. And pay attention next time. I see Latinos in commercials for the English stations. And that's, to me, it's sad to say, but it is mind-boggling that in California, in other places that have second, third generation Latinos now, we have Latinos that don't even speak Spanish anymore. That's amazing. The only commercials that I see here that Latinos are in the Spanish stations, and it's McDonald's, Colgate, it can be Budweiser, and what are we doing? We're all dancing. Every single one of them, we're all dancing to McDonald's. There's a band in the background, perhaps. It's funny, but that's just the way it is. We haven't grown to that level where we actually see that in other places. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we are such a new region as far as immigration is concerned. In this particular instance, Latino immigration, predominantly from Central America. That's the reason why we need organizations like CARECEN. They are the ones, for example, when you're the new kid in school and you don't know anybody, they're the guy that you recognize from maybe back in the day, or for some reason or another has something in common with you that you latch on to right away, and they show you the way. They're the guys, they're the new friend. They're our friends that hold our hand when we come here and we don't know anybody else. I never realized how racist the United States was, and it's a great country, and I love being an American. But I hadn't realized how much racism was still alive until I decided to run for office 7 years ago. I went from being Wil Campos, William Campos, to being the Latino candidate. I went from being Wil Campos to being the Latino official in the county, one of two in the whole state. And with that comes a lot of slack, because people don't like different things. And I would come home, especially after campaigning, but one particular night after my first year, and I became the sounding board for everything good and bad as far as Hispanic life and culture. I was the representative all of a sudden. And I remember people being so mean one night. Your people this, your people that, just went off. And I came home and I cried. And I couldn't believe, and it was talked about earlier, how mean people could be. And I've only been doing this for 7 years. You grow a thick skin. You grow a thick skin, and you learn how to deal with those types of situations, and you still keep working hard and keep working forward. And I've only been doing it for 7 years. With the way this country is now, and with immigration being such a hot topic, it's amazing, and I thank every single one of you in CARECEN who's been doing this for 30 years. Saul, although he wasn't in CARECEN for 30 years, was doing it before he came into CARECEN. And that boggles my mind, how you can be in such a tough field, day in and day out. I may have a bad civic association meeting a couple times a year. When you deal with this issue, when you are fighting for the rights of people that many in this country say should not be fought for, when you're doing that day in and day out, you should be commended. You really should be. And I want to thank CARECEN for allowing me to say those words. And I have a proclamation that I will present in honor of Saul and of CARECEN. But the last thing I will say that I really am going to miss about Saul, especially in this position, is that Saul, even though he was in charge of so much, even though he fought for so much, and for so many difficult situations for nuestra raza, he was always Saul. He was never the executive. He was never the leader of this organization. He was never political, even though he dealt in those things that needed politics to be involved. He was always Saul. You have no idea how tough it is in this position as an elected official to see people that are so real, whether they're a nonprofit organization representative or whether it's another politician. It's very rare. And that is what I'm going to miss the most, because he was always just a real person that got things done when he needed to get them done his way. He didn't bring attention to himself or CARECEN. He did it his way, and he did it in a very real manner. And I'm definitely going to miss that, because he was not el señor ejecutivo. He was not the position, el puesto. He was Saul, and I'm really going to miss that. So with that, I have a proclamation that I will read. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll read the main parts of it. And it starts out with a scripture in loving memory from Isaiah. Those who walk uprightly enter into peace. They find rest as they lie in death. Whereas a pioneer in the fight for the well-being and development of the Latino community in Prince George's County, Saul Solorzano coordinated local and national efforts to protect Salvadorians and other Central American refugees. And whereas born October 14th, 1961 in San Salvador, El Salvador, Saul Antonio Solorzano Magaña was the son of small merchants, graduated high school, and enrolled in a technical school to become an electrician. Whereas in 1992, Saul Solorzano was hired as the Associate Director for the Central American Resource Center, CARECEN, and helped coordinate a program for a nationwide network of church communities to provide humanitarian support to displaced people of El Salvador, and to organize the high-level delegations to Central America to address the refugee crisis. And whereas under extraordinary leadership of Saul Solorzano, CARECEN assumed a pivotal convening role in a periodic national campaigns to safeguard temporary protective status, TPS, benefits, serving as a focal point for Latino and faith-based grassroots activism, and a key liaison with federal government decision makers, and was named Executive Director in 1994, a position he held until December 2010. Whereas it is known that the loving efforts and dedicated devotion of Saul Solorzano are greatly appreciated, and he will be truly missed, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Prince George's County Council that it is an honor to pay tribute to the late Saul Antonio Solorzano, and in his memory, today, Thursday, October 6, 2011, is declared Saul Antonio Solorzano Day in Prince George's County. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias al concejal Wil Campos por el Condado de Prince.